Donald Trump Jr. posted another episode of his podcast, so you know what that means. We're going to have to react to some of these clips. This time, a part of this episode was him saying something that I know is going to make me so mad. It's so ridiculous, so insane, and dangerous. But I can't just immediately jump into that. I want to have a little bit of a more lighthearted beginning to this, because we've gone through a lot this week, frankly. So let's start with the more goofy stuff. He once again seemed to disparage his family. I'll remind you of the last time that was rather notable. It's so weird. But we'll start with this latest example.
Questions, because I can slow down that stream a little bit more easily and do that. Princess Parabellum, please adopt me into your family. I have 5 kids. It's too much already. I know how that happens now, so I got a new hobby. It's much less vicious than...
Wait, you know how that happens? I think... Are you talking about the birds and the bees, Don? I think we figured that out too.
Please adopt me into your family. I have 5 kids. It's too much already. I know how that happens now, so I got a new hobby. It's much less vicious than politics. It's much less vicious than having kids, which is politics, I guess. Time for deport.
What? He just doesn't seem to like hanging out with his family, as you're going to see in this compilation or reminder of one of his past episodes. But what do you mean having kids is vicious? I know it's difficult, okay? Except for when you raised me. That wasn't difficult, parents. But, no, I understand it's difficult, but just a strange way to phrase. And it's politics. How is having kids politics? Family debates? I don't know. I'm just going to quickly pause your viewing of this video to ask what sort of a different view of what it looks like when we're recording you to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the work that we do by clicking that subscribe button. Easy, free, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Back to the video. But here's him much more overtly expressing his disdain for his fiancee.
Kimberly for press secretary. Perfect. You know what? That'd be great. She can do like 6 days a week in Washington, D.C. I get peace and quiet. Everyone wins. Don't tell her I said that. That would be trouble. Cash for AG, Kim for press secretary. Yeah, listen, I think Kim for press secretary is a great idea. Okay, I think, she moves up to DC. I get like 4 years of peace and quiet. Like I said, everyone wins. Everyone wins. But Kimberly is not too wishy-washy. Yeah, that's that. If there's one thing Kimberly is not, it's that. So. Don Jr. sleeping on the couch tonight? Fact check, true. But hey, listen, sometimes you sleep on the couch and it's just worth it because it's just worth it. So yeah, if Kim is watching, I'm probably in trouble. If you guys know her, you're probably texting her right now. Hopefully she's not watching. Kim has a great voice. Yeah, Kim's an animal. Like she'd be good at that. She's, like I said, I think she'd do a great job at the job. I get peace and quiet. Everyone wins. You think she's tough? You think I don't have to put up with that shit? I do. That doesn't just turn off, when, you're not on a show or you're not on TV. Kim is a gem. Look at you guys kissing ass. Now you're trying to make me look bad. We can make Kim AG. She's an undefeated prosecutor. Again, and I still win because she's in D.C. for 4 years.
Yes, those were all different instances. So weird. I'm going to play that as many times as I possibly can. Imagine how uncomfortable y'all would be if I just started saying that. What was that, 5 times? It just started saying about some family member. Or I guess she's not his family yet. Fiance. Yeah, brutal stuff. But I haven't heard that since, so maybe he did have to sleep on the couch. Okay, on to the serious things. You've had your laugh. Now Donald Trump Jr. being insane.
Yeah, good fights, great time, a lot of fun with that. Can you explain the Dems comment using Navy SEALs to kill your father? Supposedly court said it's okay. No, the court did not say that. You can't just break the law, okay? You can't just target an American citizen for no reason. That's not what they said, but that's what the Democrats are trying to. They're trying to turn the message into that, right? They're trying to pretend that that's what's going on. It's It's sick. It's disgusting. I mean, by that logic, you say, hey, Obama should be held responsible for the American he droned while president. But they're trying to say that, and they're encouraging it. They want him to assassinate his political enemies. I mean, they're already trying to do that figuratively in court. They're trying to put my father in jail for the rest of his life. One of those cases, I guess, carries the death penalty with it as a possible result. So they're already trying to do that. They're just trying to do it without going through the legal process and just do it with the SEALs or a drone. Remember, folks, when people tell you who they are, believe them. It doesn't surprise me at all that that's something they would try to do, that they'd be willing to do. That should surprise absolutely no one if you've been watching. So, what is Obama's current involvement with?
So, what is he talking about? Well, first, let's see here if I can read a little bit of reporting to you. It's so deranged. No, you're making that argument. That's what I want to scream at him. And all these Republicans saying this. You're making the argument, MAGA, that could happen, that an assassination could be justified. And one of the things he said was, no, you can't just break a law. What do you think criminal immunity means? Immunity is not relevant if you didn't break the law. You're immune from criminal prosecution, even if you broke the law, for acts that you could deem official acts. And it's a pretty official act for the president to direct the military to do something, which is the concern. Because you could say, I just had a serious concern about that person, and so I got the military to assassinate them. Some of these things you go, well, how would that really happen? Okay, fair. We're understanding a principle. And so the point that people are making is this Supreme Court decision that says, in response to Trump's team trying to assert presidential immunity with his attempts to overturn the election and block the peaceful transfer of power, that federal case, they're trying to say you can't prosecute Trump for that because he has presidential immunity. Then the Supreme Court says there is immunity, but we're going to send it back down to a lower court to decide how they define official act, how they define if what Trump did was or was not an official act. Presumably, we could see a situation where Trump is able to avoid prosecution because he says it was an official act as president to put together fraudulent slate of electors. Crazy. And also the point that people are making online by saying, could Biden direct the assassination of Trump? Is not calling for it. It's saying, based on how this decision is written, is that something Biden would be immune from? He would never do it. He came out and spoke against this decision because Biden does believe in the rule of law. He doesn't believe that a president should be above the law, so he wouldn't act in such a way. But that's what the decision seems to justify. Here is this from the Hill. Sotomayor, who wrote the dissent, liberal justice, scolds immunity decision for making presidents king above the law. She wrote, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said the Supreme Court's decision granting former President Trump, and I do have more clips from this podcast, but we'll go through this first, for official acts completely insulate presidents from criminal liability in a forceful dissent issued Monday. Today's decision to grant former presidents criminal immunity reshapes the institution of the presidency. It makes a mockery of the principle, foundational to our Constitution and system of government, that no man is above the law. Key point, too, it's not just about the logistical challenges of a sitting president being prosecuted because they have to still govern, but a former president gets these sort of protections? What are we talking about? The court effectively creates a law-free zone around the president, upsetting the status quo that has existed since the founding. Why do you think Nixon was pardoned? Because he couldn't be prosecuted, or a pardon would protect him from prosecution because we knew that people could be prosecuted? This new official acts immunity now lies about like a loaded weapon for any president that wishes to place his own interests, his own political survival, or his own financial gain above the interests of the nation. In every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law, her dissent read. And then she does specifically point out here, when he uses his official powers in any way under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. Orders the Navy's SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? Immune. She continued. Organizes a military coup to hold on to power? Immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon? Immune. Incredible points here from Sotomayor. And in the oral arguments phase of this, these questions were being asked by the liberal justices to Trump's team, saying, wait, could you construe a situation where an official act by the president, meaning it's a pretty presidential act to direct the military. A private citizen can't tell the military what to do. So that's what's scary about this. Only in a president's official capacity could they get the military to do something. And thus, doing something like assassinating a political opponent seems to be protected based on this. And same thing with a president using their authority to tell the vice president to do something like preventing the certification of an election. And are you saying that preventing our democracy from prevailing, violating laws in that process, is not something a president can be held accountable for because they're the president even when they leave office? That seems to be the case. So then people going out and saying, Sotomayor specifically mentioned in the dissent, and it was mentioned in the oral arguments phase, that it's just the example used, we keep going back to it, but that an assassination could be protected from criminal prosecution. Trump's team said, yep, true, you could. That would be an official act in the oral arguments phase. The majority decision here from the conservative justice seems to bolster that. It does. I don't know why I keep saying seems. It bolsters that. And so then liberals on the internet, to try to make that point, are saying, all right, well, now Biden can do whatever he wants to Trump. And they then turn that around to... So the liberals want Biden to be above the law to be able to assassinate people? No. You're guys arguing that, okay? Donald Trump Jr., your father's team is arguing. You're the one arguing that. It's not us. I agree with you. That would be terrible. I don't want that. So come over to our side and actually respect the concept of no one being above the law. Okay, here's more.
Happens Zelensky was an actor before he was president. Yeah, and so was Ronald Reagan. So I'm not saying that's disqualifying. I mean, I do think I've seen like video clips of like Zelensky playing piano with his penis, which, I don't know, probably seems like a different level of...
I don't know.
Reagan. So I'm not saying that's disqualifying. I mean, I do think I've seen like video clips of like Zelensky playing piano with his penis, which, I don't know, probably seems like a different level of acting. The whole thing's a joke. The Zelensky thing is literally, it's like the stuff out of a movie. I mean, it's like best, but like not a good movie, not a serious movie, like best in show type movie. I mean, that's how ridiculous the whole thing is. But he's a hero and he's a new deity of the left. He's a godlike figure of the left. We got to remember that. So, that's what's going on there. Let's see.
No, Don, it's just your side that seems to worship men like gods, not us, sir. But I'll play the video of Zelensky playing his piano, quote unquote, as Donald Trump Jr. said, with his penis. It's actually a funny skit that he did. But what is Donald Trump Jr. saying? He's saying the whole Zelensky thing is a joke? Do you mean him happening to be the president of his country whenever Russia invades and slaughters a bunch of their soldiers and civilians just because Putin is power hungry for more territory, wants to regain the Soviet Union glory? That's a joke to you? Their hatred of Zelensky, I don't know where this weird hatred of Ukraine defending themselves. And then they'll bring up issues within the Ukrainian government or with leaders in Ukraine. What does any of that have to do with Russia being allowed to invade a sovereign country, truly? Or what does Zelensky being a comedian before he got into politics have anything to do with him leading his country whenever they're being invaded? And by the way, here is the particular thing that he's referring to. Now let me skip forward. It gets better up here. Yeah, so whenever you're an actor and a comedian, sometimes you do funny stuff like that. Don't know how that connects at all to whether or not him being against Russia invading his country is a joke, I guess, as Donald Trump Jr. saying. And then his critique is that the left has made Zelensky a god. Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Plenty of flaws. Just someone who is correct for thinking Russia shouldn't invade his country. Okay.
No, and I think they get that. And now they've had 3.5 years under Biden. They will have had almost 4 by the time we get to Election Day. They had those same time under Trump, and they understand who did what, where it was better. It's a big deal. Casey Gates, you should move to California and run for governor. You could be the next Ronald Reagan. Thanks, Casey. Hard pass. Hard pass. I'm very happy in the great state of Florida. It's funny. I go out, if I take my kids out to dinner out like where I live, it's nuts. I mean, it's so MAGA. It's great. Just people. I actually, it's sort of because I have a hard time paying for my own dinner sometimes. It's like, no, literally, people like, it's like, and it's like, I'll be like, check please. They're like, oh, that table picked it up over there. I was like, where are they? Like, I don't see anyone there. They're like, oh no, they left. They didn't even want to bother you. They just said thank you. And I'm like, I can buy my own dinner, but I do always. It's obviously greatly appreciated. I just almost feel bad sometimes.
As someone who, as you can see, does a podcast, it's sort of, you don't do friendly fire within the podcasting community, which is not true. That's all I do. Not all I do, but it's much of what we do is respond to other commentators, but more so just critiquing how someone's talking feels weird because I know that I'm not always perfect at delivering my messages, and it would feel embarrassing if someone said, you said the word like too much, for example. Not that I'm levying that at him, but it's just interesting. People tune in to the DJ TJ podcast to hear what he has to say. Who's paying for his food? You're gonna pay for the billionaire's son food to say he's doing such great work? What is he doing? Nothing. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments. I don't even know what to say. I'm in a weird place, as you can tell. Just things are tense right now, and I feel that. If you want to get the extra episode of the show daily, you can do so by clicking the join button below.